Hey there, guys, and welcome back to another Factorio alternate Friday Facts, ALT-F4, otherwise known as. And this is number 3, Tron Party. I am joined by Bombug, as always.
Hello, hello. How you doing today, X?
Doing pretty good. We're a day late. That's my fault. I looked on Friday, and I didn't see this on the subreddit, and I was really busy Friday anyway, so I took the lazy way out, and I was just like, well, it's not on the Reddit. I guess it's not out. And
Oh.
so that's my bad. But we are doing it. It's a pretty long one. Gonna try to summarize it, hopefully. But there's still some good stuff in here.
Awesome. Let's get into it.
All right. So third issue of the Alt F4 this weekend. There will be an attempt to try and break the record for the highest number of players on a single Factorio server. Of course, now since we're late, this is probably already passed, but read on for details of how to join the fun. I'm sure this won't be the only one though. So uh, there's also an action report about the big community games launch party, which should totally have been covered last week. Completely my bad. Finally, Rhaegar shares an exciting mod of his with all of us. Let's get to it. P.S. We're looking for motivated people that want to help translate each issue of Friday F4. So the event is Molten Silicon. I like the name of that.
That's definitely representative of what's gonna happen to that CPU, man.
Oh yeah,
Holy cow.
gonna be a little puddle by the time they're done. Um, so this is I think hosted by JD Place. So basically, it is a long weekend as well for at least people in the U.S. Most people, so that's cool. So going to play Factorio for about 25 minutes again, then realize the sun is rising already. Or do you want to play Factorio with a few friends? Well, here's some good news. Basically, there's going to be a huge event, and the goal is to completely melt the server silicon. Where the objective is to get as many players onto the same server as possible and launch a rocket. So basically, if you got a few hours to spare this weekend and want to try and help break the previous record of 521 concurrent players, join the server at 11 a.m. UTC this Saturday the 5th, which already passed. But again, there will probably be more of these because everyone's going to continue to try to beat the previous record, I'm sure.
I mean, in the Friday facts that I've read with you, I've already seen this, maybe 2 or 3 times before.
Yeah.
They keep going, and every time, like what they got 500 plus last time, that's just crazy to me already. They keep pushing the limits.
I know that's just absolutely mind-blowing to me. Like, imagine what could get done if everyone actually worked together. Like, just
Oh yeah,
with that amount of people that don't know each other, it's never going to happen. But if hypothetically everyone actually worked cooperatively, like perfectly, and like tried to progress, it would be mind blowing. I think what would get done.
yeah. Just seeing initially people going in basically human biter waves to hit
Yes.
up the biter bases, and all they had was their pickaxe, but it worked when you have that many players, and you don't have the material and the buildings to produce ammo at the beginning anyway. It was a thing of beauty to see what we could do when we take on the hive mind ourselves.
Yes, exactly. It's pretty fun to watch that kind of stuff. So, fortunately, this has passed, but I will be interested in the results. I haven't seen anything really posted about the results yet, but um, I'm sure they will try to beat this in the future. So that's cool. And then Don't Break the New Toys, Please by Tar. So the first issue of the blog was an exciting surprise when my stubborn mind went to Factorio.com on Friday 14th August, knowing there wouldn't be a fresh Friday Facts post 361 waiting for me. Uh, I decided I wanted to support this initiative, and the best way to do so was to act fast. So here's a field report about one of the fresh 1.0 not a bug reports. uh, so basically the second best thing after an official release party in Prague would be a good old multiplayer server. Multiple release parties spread in the Factorio lobby that Friday, all hosting fresh maps with many people all over the world. The big games Discord was able to catch the most momentum and peaked at 201 players, which is good as you need quite a decent base to chew away all the science packs that are required to get the best feature of 1.0. It's a Spidertron. Uh, So they had dense ore patches and a clever map note describing team colors and their duties. The server started as a hyperactive ant collective with an instinct for making smelter columns. The map message around the spawn did a wonderful job of organizing the ever-growing group of engineers. Early on, an isolated factory was raised next to the science factory to keep all the red shirts fed with gear and ammo. This gave both the troopers and the builders a steady supply to defend the growing factory. So this is kind of what we were talking about. Is this does actually seem fairly organized, um, which is pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah, having the map messages there seems to be the best way, so people don't have to log in and have someone chat with them to tell them what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very nice. Kind of reminds me of the old Minecraft server days. Uh,
Ooh, yeah.
when you would have like all those plugins and stuff, and they'd give all those like automated messages and instructions when people join. Pretty cool. So grow it did. It took 11 hours to produce a rocket alongside around 20 Spidertrons, a shipload of equipment and armor, and a ton of ammo and explosives. By that time, Bilka Bay, Italy, and Lake Twinson had been christened according to the map markers left by the seasoned engineers. As soon as the Spidertrons came into production, it became clear that these lakes feel very unusual but powerful at the same time. The intriguing sight of simply stepping over lakes and machines slowly turned the exploration tour into a test of capabilities for our new toy. Belts soon turned out to be the point of interest for many of the spiders that were running around the map. The shared excitement led the admins to add their own contribution to the party and made Spidertron face the ultimate test by turning the release party into a Spidertron rave. Colorful dance floor was quickly transformed so the spiders could stretch their legs. We see some real wonky stuff going on here.
That's
With
real daddy long legs right there. Longer than
yes,
you could ever imagine.
it's pretty crazy. Bit terrifying as well, to be perfectly honest. So this
Just
is
a little
definitely
bit.
yeah, just a little bit. This is definitely kind of breaking some stuff maybe. Uh, so this basically it happened because the combination of belts traveling in opposite directions and gaps in the map drove the brand new Spidertron legs to split awkwardly, stretching their legs infinitely. High time to update the devs about these findings with a fresh 1.0 bug report. It ended up as one of the most viewed bug reports, but was quickly marked as duplicate, not a bug. Developer V had already responded to one of the first bug reports 30 minutes after release to point out that restricting their movement wouldn't be desirable and that our spiders were actually performing just fine, but the fact that we could does not eliminate the question of whether we should. uh, in the end, the playthrough was an absolute blast and we truly fell in love with the Spidertron. He's one of us now. So, that's pretty cool. I think, this is a fairly edge case, I think, in my opinion. You would either maybe rarely discover this on accident or have to actually intentionally try to get something like this to happen. Um,
Yeah, I
so
mean, there's not usually that many belts in a Factorio base, right? So you wouldn't really notice too much. But definitely, this is kind of taking the Skyrim gameplay style uh, here and bringing it over to Factorio. It's not a bug; it's a feature.
yeah, exactly. Kind of like there's some other Factorio stuff like that too. So, um,
Definitely not a bad thing to do. I mean, if you know like bunny hopping from
mhm.
first-person shooters,
Oh
that's
yes,
a bug that became a major feature. It's a
yes,
mechanic everybody wants to use.
exactly. Um, so now we move on to a mod spotlight, and this is a really lengthy section. So I think we're gonna touch on maybe just a couple aspects of this. Um, and this is the editor extension. So this is a mod that I use all the time, weekly, in fact, because I use this for my mod spotlights. It's basically like the old creative mode or cheat mode mods, just an updated version by Rhaegar, who's made some other fantastic mods. Uh, so I think we'll cover maybe this first section, and then are there any of these other subsections that you're like particularly interested in?
Let's see. Maybe that little section about the infinity loader being a minimum of 5 entities at once. Uh, Character cheats and conclusion. That seems like a kind of good set to hit.
Yep. Okay. So, uh, if you, I'll start with this first main section, and then if you want to cover the loader section you talked about.
Yeah.
infinity loaders, and then see about the other stuff too. So uh, anyway, everyone knows about the old creative mode. It provides you with many different cheat items that you can use to test your factory layouts. It has been around for quite a long time and has served people well over the years. However, if you use creative mod any length of time, you'll start to notice lag spikes here and there. Uh, Continuing using it more and more, and the lag spikes will get more and more frequent. Eventually, your game will begin to slow as you use more and more of creative mods tools. And I experienced this a long time ago with the Factorio Workshop series I did with Zuri. We used this mod, and as we added more and more stuff, the lag definitely was pretty significant. Um, so a year and a half ago, Rhaegar started experiencing lag on my creative world. I had just released my first mod, being Tapeline, at the time, so I had a little bit of experience with the API. Curious, I delved into creative mods code and tried to see if I could figure out what was going on. Basically, the result was that it was very well made for its time. The mod was created in 0.13 when the modding API was much more limited. Thus, it managed to do all of these awesome things with an extremely limited set of tools, but now the mod API is much more mature and a lot more capable. I set out to create an update to Creative Mod that would take advantage of these new features, thereby decreasing its performance impact. But eventually realized that updating Creative Mod was infeasible. It would require just a lot of breaking changes. So decided to create a new mod altogether. The mod was initially released as Infinity Mode, which I do recall using as well, but soon deprecated and replaced with editor extensions for various reasons. Editor extensions does not replace the game's map editor like Creative Mod and Infinity do. It augments it. So basically, editor extensions does not have cheats window akin to Creative Mode and Infinity Mod. Uh, and the editor has all that functionality and more buried within its mini menus. And its main appeal is its performance. It is several orders of magnitude faster than Creative Mod is going to go over. I'm going to go over some of the methods I use to achieve this. So, yes, this is a mod a lot of people use for creative work now. This is the one I use. It's very nice because when you enable cheat mode, like just with the command in the game to just normally enable cheat mode, then it allows you to access another menu in editor extensions, which gives you all these quote unquote cheaty items, which make testing things and all that super super easy. It's pretty straightforward, and yeah, I think we can move on to the specific sections we were interested in. If you want to take it where you wanted to go.
Sure. Some of the stuff we're jumping over is like the electricity, which they were talking about it just not having a super good interface and still being a little bit inefficient, just per tick having to do more work than the new ways that they came up with. Same with the chests where they were just not that efficient, creating a whole lot of overhead after just placing a couple of chests. So they've got those optimized. Now going down to the infinity loader in the belt there, that's kind of like an interesting point because Regard is talking about how it's a minimum of 5 entities at once. From left to
Jeez.
right, they've got the loader entity itself and an infinity chest and 2 stacks of filter inserters and a constant combinator. All of these play a role in making the infinity loader work. So when you place an infinity loader, what you're actually placing is a dummy combinator. It's a constant combinator that is disguised to look like a loader, and when it's placed, a script immediately destroys the combinator and replaces it with an invisible one. The combinator is what you actually interact with and is saved in blueprints, so the filters can be preserved. And the loader entity is added along with an invisible infinity chest and a minimum of 2 invisible stack filter inserters with their speeds cranked up to max. So when you configure the loader's filter through the custom GUI, you're actually setting the filters on invisible stack filter inserters as well as the infinity chest at once. And those inserters will pull from the chest and put items onto the belt extremely quickly, making it seem as if the items are spawning out of nowhere. Along with that, the reverse is also true. So if you rotate an infinity loader to consume items, the inserters will put everything off of the belt and throw it into the infinity chest, making it seem as if the items are magically disappearing. All of that is done behind the scenes and takes advantage of vanilla behaviors. A script is used to set up the loader, but from then on, the script does nothing, reducing the scripting overhead from using those loaders once again to 0. That's pretty cool. There's like so much work that has to go into making these things that on the user side, if you scroll down to the picture below,
Hmm.
all you have is the state of on or off and the filters, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they're doing extra stuff beyond that. It's like it automatically adjusts to the speed of belts it's connected to. You know, it's just a whole lot of cool stuff going on.
Yeah. It's really crazy to think like all these other steps that are going on behind the scenes and like not really noticeable just when you're normally using it in game. It's really
Absolutely.
fascinating.
And the sort of mental exploration that it takes for them to come up with these solutions, like, oh, if it were me, I would make 5 separate entities to, or I guess probably 4. I wouldn't know what to do with the combinator, right? I would
Hmm.
make a bunch of different entities to try and generate an infinity loader myself. But just like veterans of Factorio who come up with, oh, let's do side loading onto these belts so we get 2 items per belt, and use belt weaving and maybe 4 red arms at once. We'll be able to put a whole bunch of items into this one factory at the same time, one assembler, and that kind of stuff new players won't pick up on immediately, and it really takes like an explorative brain for them to develop all
Yes.
that's going on in these mods, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
let's
that's
see.
let's
Do we
see.
want to talk about character cheats at all, or are those pretty straightforward?
I think that's pretty straightforward. So yeah, these are basically just the cheaty versions of the the modules that would go into your armor. Um, so basically, by using cheat mode, some of the tools I haven't mentioned include supercharged equipment. By using this equipment, you can become immortal, run super fast, and see clearly in the darkness. The super report combined with super construction bots allows you to very quickly construct and deconstruct. The result is you can access many of the editor's godlike powers while retaining your comfortable body. And in the future, if you ever remove editor extensions from your save, the equipment will simply disappear, leaving infinite reach as the only evidence of the mod being there. It's a fair bit of evidence, I'd say, but
It's the long arm that Spidertron has granted us in this
yes.
wonderful 1.0 release.
Yes, there you go. That's it. So basically, the conclusion is that editor extensions is a result of over a year of testing both in-game builds and mods. There are many, many things that I haven't covered yet, including a toggle editor shortcut, inventory sync, infinity pipes, and special testing scenario. But that would make this post even longer than it already is. I hope you enjoyed the read, and I hope you gained some insight into how Factorio's amazing modding API works. The Factorio Devs spoil us with what we are able to do to their game. The API only gets more and more capable with every update. Thank you for reading, and thank you to the developers for making this possible. Yeah, the modding environment and stuff for Factorio is pretty amazing. It's really really robust and capable. Um,
This is some excellent stuff, and it really has been within the past couple of major versions of Factorio that they've updated the API to where these things are possible through mods, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
takes
Fairly
a
recently.
lot of work from the initial devs onto the modders to really make these things go together. And for a game like Factorio, I mean, you want to have a sandbox where you can do whatever you want without having to, build 500 nuclear reactors. Waste a bit of resources on your
Yes,
payload.
exactly. Um, so yeah,
Cool.
that's pretty cool. This is awesome. Last section is just contributing. So as always, they're looking for people to contribute to the community blog here. You can join the Discord or the GitHub project to get started. Pretty much any topic is welcome, so don't be afraid to contribute. They're also looking at getting community translation started this week, which would make ALT-F4 available to many more players than just English version could. We already set the website up to accommodate this, so all we need are people to work on the translations. If you're up for it, join this Discord and look for translation channel. So that's pretty cool. These are always really interesting, and I will be interested to find the results of the Operation Melt Silicon event. And look forward to any future ones. The mod spotlight stuff is really cool as well, and yeah, I really look forward to the one next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be real cool. Do you have any multiplayer plans for yourself coming up here?
Uh, Somewhat. I've been challenged by Colonel Will to do a a science competition, basically, using a mod his community created. So I think that's happening this week. It won't be a huge event player wise. I think we're just going with 4 people on each team, including ourselves. But uh, it'll be pretty interesting. I'm gonna be streaming it, of course. So definitely maybe worth tuning into that. Should be pretty good. We'll see what happens there.
That sounds real cool. Let's see who's got the better scientists.
Yeah, should be interesting for sure. So I think that's gonna do it. And do you just have anything else to add here?
Nah, I think that covers what I wanted to hit today.
All right, perfect. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave your thoughts below, as always. And if you have anything to contribute, translation-wise or content-wise for this, definitely join the appropriate things listed here. And until next time, we will see you later.
Catch you later.